What is up, YouTube? Live via satellite here, and today we are talking Kingdom, manga chapter 523. And guys, I'm not going to lie to you, before this chapter, my Ousen fanboy love had risen to unprecedented heights. And you know what they say about love, guys. Love is blind. And after reading this chapter, I realized what I had been doing. I had been sweeping all the bad things I heard about Ousen under the rug. I mean, I was in denial. Renpa and Shohiken were talking about Ousen wanting to be king. Under the rug. When he tried to recruit Kyle to be a part of his kingdom. Under the rug. When he tried to capture Ordo alive during the coalition. Obviously, he was trying to recruit him too, right? Under the rug. When he took over Quito and made those men swear their allegiance to him. Under the rug. And even when he forced Ousen to take on Kanjo, basically so he could just keep a closer eye on him. Under the rug. But today in this chapter, when we start out and we have Ousen sitting here trying to recruit Mouten, all the things I had in the back of my head came rushing back to the front. I mean, why is Ousen trying to assemble the dream team here? He obviously has some sort of end game. To be honest with me, just the fact that he doesn't take his mask off is enough not to want to trust him. I mean, would you trust somebody like this? How about this guy? This guy? And definitely not this guy. And I say all that to say this. For all the positives that Ousen brings to the table, there are some negatives that we just have to acknowledge. So apparently there was more to the flashback than we got last week. And Ousen can clearly see the potential of Mouten, so much so that he offers him a position as one of his vassals. But Mouten defiantly points out he should definitely not be giving him this offer, as there's somebody who deserves this honor way more than he does. Ousen glares at Mouten only as Ousen can. So obviously Mouten's talking about Ousen, and on cue we pan over to Ousen staring over the battlefield, and him and his men start to see the Zao come into view. Speaking of the Zao army, we immediately get a very nice panel of the three commanders, Gaku Ei, Bananji, and Choguryu. Gaku Ei states that he'll be the first to engage the Queen because he doesn't know the skills of these no-names that he's working with. But he is quickly made aware that Bananji was handpicked by Riboku himself, and that Choguryu was a vassal of Rin Sojo, one of the three great heavens. Gaku Ei then makes the face of a man who just realized that out of the three of them standing there, he's definitely the Sakura of the bunch. And to make it even simpler for someone like Gaku Ei to understand, he would be considered to be someone who is on the level of someone like Rinko or Kaishiba, which were both vassals of Renpa. Gaku Ei was talking trash like he was the biggest, baddest guy in the gym. And you know what happens when you do that. Back over at the Quinn right wing, Akko's army has started to get into formation. But Banyo is arguing with Kanjo because he doesn't understand why they haven't received orders yet. And Kanjo already said that a messenger was coming. No sooner does he say this, does General Akko himself appear. And this is where things get interesting. He wants to use the Yokuho unit's mobility for precise strikes, and that for right now, he wants them to hold their position for a suitable opportunity. Even though this plan was made by Ousen and Akko themselves, Ousen calls it a joke. He asks that the plan be redone now. Ousen believes that the Gyokuho unit is getting special treatment because of who he is. Ousen even states that his unit is capable of taking on even 10,000 enemies. At this point, you can already see what Akko thinks of this statement.
Oh, you better shut up!
Akko tells Ousen to not be so conceited and that he is not getting special treatment, good or bad. Everybody's faces look puzzled at this statement, except for, of course, Kanjo, who seems to know a little too much for a basic 1,000-man commander. So he's obviously trusted by Ousen, because even Banyo looks confused here. So he lets us know that Ousen isn't holding Ousen back because of fatherly concern. He's holding him back because he has little expectations of him. And that is because ... Of course he's not going to finish, right guys? But definitely stay till the end, guys, because I think I came up with something about what this all means. So Akko prepares to set out with 10,000 men to meet Gaku Ei on the battlefield, but before he leaves, he lets Ousen know that this battle will require all of their strength, and the time will come where him and his unit will be needed, and at that time he needs them to basically be at full strength. Now, a very small detail that I did notice here in this whole exchange was that I think Ousen even sent Akko out at the last minute to talk to Ouhan, because I think Ousen knew that Ouhan would try to change the plan, and if he gave him the plan at the very last second, that there would be little that Ouhan could do. So I think that was even a part of Ousen's little plan here. And then after this, we definitely get some Duke Hayo vibes, because we find out that Akko fights very similar to how the Duke used to fight, where he leads a charge, where he kind of just charges right in. And even though people say that Mako is best at offense, he does like to use tricks and feints, whereas Akko doesn't do that. He's just a straight up fighter. Even some of Kanjo's men stated how they used to hate when they were assigned to his army. Kanjo then says to Ouhan that if he wishes to gain his father's acknowledgement, then to watch Akko carefully, as he is Ousen's most trusted vassal. Alright guys, so that was the chapter in a nutshell. I thought it was a great chapter again this week. And first things first, let's address the elephant in the room. Why does Ousen not have high expectations for Ouhan? Now I believe there's a couple of reasons why. Now obviously there's the first reason, the more cliche reason, that would be Ouhan's trying to seek out his father's respect. That's all well and good, and that would be like the most obvious thing, but I would think that this would be something more deeper than that. Alright, so to me, there's only two other things that it could be if they're not going to take the obvious route. And the first thing stems from way back in the Fire Dragons of Wei arc, when To saw that the situation would call for reinforcements, how Ouhan was quick to jump in and say that calling Ousen and his army here is something that you absolutely must not do. I mean, that to me was like the very first red flag that something was different between Ouhan and his father. The second red flag was when we got introduced to Kanjo. Even though he was in Ouhan's squad, he was still basically working for Ousen, keeping an eye on Ouhan. So why would he want to have his son watched? In my opinion, I think something went down similar to this. I think Ouhan was given a choice, and I think he may have chose to be loyal to the king instead of being loyal to Ousen and his ambitions. And now Ousen has him watched because he doesn't feel as though he can trust him as much. And those were my initial thoughts. But after reading this chapter, another possibility came to mind. So, alright guys, so the other possibility is a little bit more of a reach. Alright, so I am kind of reaching with this one, I will admit. But you know what, it's fun to speculate and it's fun to come up with different types of ideas, right? So what I came up with was this, guys. When Akko first arrives and he begins conversating with Ouhan, Kanjo points out that he specifically said, young lord. So when I thought about it, I've never seen anybody call Ouhan young lord. I've always seen him call him young master, Han-sama, captain. Young lord is new to me. Now, somebody else may have seen it in Kingdom somewhere, but I'd never seen it before. So to me, this is something new. Now, young lord seems more like a nobility type of title. So it got me thinking, is that the reason that Ousen doesn't have expectations of Ouhan? Ousen's no fool. He knows that his son has plenty of ability. So for him to not have any expectations of him, I started to think, well, maybe he doesn't have any expectations because he is so serious about becoming king that Ouhan wouldn't need to be a general. He wouldn't need to fight anymore because he would be a prince. So like, yeah, why would he have like future expectations of him? No, he has his expectations of him now, but he doesn't have anything that he can see in the future for him to do because he would be in a different position in his eyes. Alright, so obviously guys, this last was a little bit of a reach, but it's fun to speculate from time to time and come up with different types of ideas. And that's it for my review this week, guys. I thought the chapter was great. Let me know what you guys thought about the chapter and this discussion in the comments section below. Leave a like if you liked the video. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. Peace out.